Summer. What's going on? And welcome to another episode of Beta Sheet. This is episode 5, the intersection of science and society. And today we have a mixed lined up of individuals. Some people that have been with us before and some that haven't. We'll just go down the line. We have Greg. You want to say hi, Greg?
Hi, I gotta go to dinner soon, but how's everybody doing?
Greg's got to go to dinner, and he could not figure out the webcam. We have Laura.
I hear a very good-looking audience, is all.
Hi.
And we have Oscar.
Hey.
And Roy.
Hello, hello.
Roy, one of our returning guests here. And we have Tony, first time ever.
Hello, I am Tony for the first time ever.
Batman
Lost
fanatic.
a little weight, too.
How's everybody doing?
Great.
Gabby.
Gravity
So,
really
basically
pushed
what this
down
podcast is
9.8
for,
today.
we just sit here and we discuss trends. And that's about it. Science. Waits for no one.
Gravity, it's a bitch.
It's always there.
Okay, so let me see. One of the first articles I had was about one of the sixth grader, one of her projects on the venomous lionfish that spawns fierce fight. Basically, what she found was that the lionfish could exist in freshwater. It's from the ocean, so saltwater environment. Her little sixth grade experiment. Oscar, you're picking your teeth right now. That's nice. Her experiment found that basically the fish can live in seawater as well as freshwater. I don't know if y'all ever seen a lionfish before.
Yeah, it's full of spines, right?
It's what?
It's like one of those, like, it's full of spines.
Yeah, it's got like spines everywhere.
It's like white and orange.
There you go. Someone's seen a lionfish. Orale Nemo.
Someone's got Google.
Everyone's got Google.
No Google here.
Okay,
in
so
grade, I was not looking up lionfish. I ain't lying.
one of the things being is that
They're on
not
the
only
back
that
of the bus in 6th grade, and man, she was my lionfish. Oh, survived in saltwater and or
She liked all.
I have no idea.
All right.
No,
I'm
but,
sorry,
okay, so she was a sixth grader that discovered, or she made this discovery in her science fair project. There's some controversy behind it because apparently one of the guys that originally worked on this for his thesis as a PhD candidate is coming back and claiming that he did not get credit for this, and the co-author was the co-author that he was working with is actually the little girl's dad. And so they're going back and forth about who actually gets credit for this. So it's like if your daughter,
Like Facebook.
through Facebook, made this claim because he didn't want it to make it seem like he was going after this little kid and disparaging her from science or the science community. And he likes to have children exposed to science early on, and he didn't want to like go after this girl and like totally ruin her experience with this this finding. I don't know. A little weird. People.
Science, bitch.
Lionfish.
Is cussing allowed or no?
It's a fish that lies.
On its back.
Hey Tony, you ever seen a lionfish?
I just Googled it, and I probably saw it in an aquarium at some point.
You saw it where?
The dawning of the age of Aquarius?
Jeez.
An aquarium? Yeah, I don't know.
Hey Roy, how do you think that this guy should be handling the credit of this discovery?
I mean, I honestly think the father should know better. The father was a co-author on the original paper with the original actual researcher, whose project his research is based on. The father should know better. She should have cited her sources. I mean, granted, yeah, she's a 6-year-old. She was doing it for a science fair. But if it's getting this much attention and it's like, wait, no, we want this published. It's like, wait a minute. If you're going to do that, you've got to go through the actual ethical considerations. You got to cite your sources. You got to give credit where credit is due. And that's the proper way to actually introduce her into science. Not saying, "Oh, look at all you discovered, and I sort of probably helped you along the way." Like, no.
Exactly.
I mean, from my understanding, her findings actually confirm his findings, which is great because, hey, that's what science is about. It's about being able to prove what another person said. It's like, hey, enough people prove it. Guess what? It's true. If one person says it and three other groups can't prove it, okay, wait a minute, it's probably not true then. So the fact that her findings confirm his is great, and it means that, hey, this is actually true. But it needs to, if it wants to be published, if it wants to be taken seriously in the science community, it needs to go through the right rigors of for technical writing.
Exactly. Summer, if a little girl had maybe one of the co-authors on your project had taken credit, or let's just say she made a partial discovery and then didn't offer you credit,
Okay.
how would you take that?
I'm probably upset. Just like that, my project with the other guy who went to the conference, remember, 2 years ago? He kind of like, stole some idea from my project and then published before me. So,
Okay.
remember that? So, yeah, I think there's a controversy about that, like who actually did the work, whose idea was the original one, and
Yeah, it's like Roy said, the proper credit should be awarded.
right.
Can I rebuttal and play devil's advocate?
Yeah.
I just want to point out the fact that a
You're rebuttaling who?
6-year-old
It's a sixth grader.
A sixth grader is doing
12-year-old.
12-year-old doing the same type of research as what, 20-plus-year-old?
Yeah, but she took the credit. Her dad pretty much probably helped her a lot on it.
Right, but the issue isn't so much that she took his work. The issue is how much publicity she's getting off of it. And I'm sorry, I'm going to pay more attention to a sixth grader's research as opposed to the original author.
I think that's just a problem with society,
there,
though.
Laura. And plus, if a sixth grader had the same findings as a 24-year-old or 28-year-old, I'd be thinking, did I do it wrong?
Exactly.
Did I mess it up? I mean, if a sixth grader who's getting taught the, hypothesis, the scientific, the 7 processes or whatever.
Yeah, the scientific method.
It's like, come on, I've taken a lot more science classes than this little girl. I should have done much
So I don't
better.
think it's so much the taking the credit for it. I think it's just the publicity that the sixth grader is getting.
Yeah.
But I think
more the issue.
that was definitely one of the things that he brought up in his Facebook plea was that it would be awesome if he got that much credit, based off of his discovery, because he publicized an article a couple years back of lionfish in in waters of low salinity or something like that, and didn't get near as much publicity. But the fact that the age of this girl has promoted his project without him getting any
Well,
credit.
then copyright your work and sue her for plagiarism.
But that's kind of what's going on right now. But I think he has some issues with going after a child.
Welcome to the real world.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay. Let me see.
Gravity.
Huh?
And again, me.
My 2 cents on this, or a little bit more of my 2 cents, is that the fact that the father was the co-author for that original paper, and they gave no credit to the original researcher. The father knew this was wrong. The father should have said something to his daughter. It's like, hey, a lot of all of this research that I did that I'm helping you with was based off this guy. And again, if it was just for the science fair, no big deal. But the fact that they're pushing out this much publicity is like, all right. Then you got to do the ethical thing and actually say, hey, our research was based on this person's research, and we confirmed some of his findings. And yes, we have some of our own new findings as well. But you got to give credit where credit is due.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Absolutely.
sir. Mm-hmm. All right, so moving on to another article. This is from Popular Science, and it says an animated avatar could screen humans for national security. I had a little experience with this. Yesterday I was at a Sam's Club, and I went to the machine to put my arm in there, got my blood pressure, the BMI. I got the works. I got the works done at Sam's Pharmacy, and the whole time it's this it's not animated, it was a real person, but it had been pre-recorded, and basically it's supposed to mimic a person talking to me, and she's just there talking and tell me what to push and everything. So they're trying to get these avatars to make their way into basically like national security stuff like that. But also, like at the doctor's office, you go into the doctor's office and this animated head pops up and basically asks you all the questions that a doctor would normally ask you. Let's see. I guess one thing is I kind of want to ask you guys about is like, do you feel like that would promote healthy screenings for individuals, or do you think, within healthcare more specifically, that humanistic feel or that humanistic interaction is required, especially during like a simple checkup or something like that?
Yeah, if a computer asked me to turn and cough, I don't know if I'd do it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I wouldn't want a animated arm or robotic arm reaching out.
Yeah, I think healthcare is expensive enough that I want a real person, not a computer program talking to me.
That makes sense. Would you be more likely to tell the truth if an animated head interviewed you as opposed to a real life doctor?
Possibly.
Yeah, I think so.
So I got
How
a
about
little
you,
bit
Tony?
to say on this. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Hey, Tony, are you there?
Yeah. You say
Would
my name?
you be more willing to tell the truth to an animated head or a real human being?
Well, maybe if you're talking to a computer, you're less worried about the social part of talking to a doctor, and you want the results, so you would tell the truth. But because a lot of people lie to doctors, just
Why do
because.
you think that is? Why do people lie to doctors?
Fear of the truth.
Yeah.
Because they're embarrassed.
Yeah.
Noted. All right.
That's
How about you, Roy? You more likely to tell the truth about your medical history?
Yes, absolutely. I actually have experience where I'm doing interviews with patients, and I can tell right off the bat, okay, that's a lie, that's a lie, that's a lie. You did that somewhere else. That's a lie. Okay, all these are lies, but you're telling me this so you can get this medication, or because you want to make it seem worse than it is. I'm going to tell all this to the doctor. I'm going to write it down in your notes, and so on. But for me, I think having actual an animated form or some robotic assistance for medical screenings would be great, because the amount of actual time on patients takes so long to do a proper screening that if we can do a lot of the screening process beforehand, so like let's say you're coming in for back pain, if you can go onto the computer or have have the computer interview you, asking the 10 biggest red flags. If you
Right.
pop up positive on 3 of those red flags, guess what? I want to get you seen as soon as possible by a doctor, because something seriously could be wrong. Versus
Right.
if you're telling me all these signs and you're telling me these Model symptoms, it's like, wait a minute, odds are you're probably faking. I mean, you're still going to get seen by a doctor, but I've already put you in the categories like, okay, you might be faking or you might not actually have any injuries. I'm still going to give you all the treatments you need, but you're not as higher risk of being actually in need of serious therapy.
Wait, you have to know. You have to know all the. I guess you have to know all the facts, basically. I mean, to
How
get the bigger
about
picture
you put
and then
on
maybe
medical
to zone in
sensors?
on it.
You put on medical sensors, well, what they think is medical sensors, but it's actually a polygraph test, and then you could put that. And you could say, oh, this is for your blood, your sensing your pulse or something, but it's actually for a polygraph.
Well, actually, ECG would do wonderful for that. But
Nice.
my thing is that I could see being interviewed by avatars or whatnot as the beginning of a screening process. Just part of the
Okay.
screening.
How about
That's
you,
all you
Summer?
see. No.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Hey, Summer.
Yes.
In the clinical setting, you've been exposed to that. How do you
I
feel
mean,
like an animated head would benefit or maybe distract or take away from that? What kind of impact do you think it would have?
I don't know. I think people are tended to lie about lie about their like I don't know, like sometimes like when my mom was questioning her patients and I did the translation, I just feel like sometimes the patients do their own give their own judgment. Like they think that some of my questions doesn't really, some of my mom like doesn't really relate it to her symptoms or sickness that she's trying to kind of, she's trying to see. So then like they don't really tell the truth.
Interesting, interesting. All right, guys.
Yeah.
Let me see. Let me ask you a question. Do you think crows are smarter than children?
Yes.
Crows are pretty smart. I mean, I've seen a couple of studies on they can do a whole lot of puzzles if it means like they're with a reward at the end, like food or whatnot. I mean, and I've looked at some of those puzzles and they're like, okay, how would you actually do this? I mean, it gives you a minute to think about, and these crows do it.
This is an article from National Geographic. Are crows smarter than children? And I actually got the bird to figure out this. It was like a mathematic problem and outsmarted, or actually, I don't know about outsmarted, but did the equation or did the math test quicker than the kindergartner. It's interesting. Crows are replacing our kindergartners.
Well, maybe the crow got trained by solving those mathematical questions.
5-year-olds. I think. It's
Yeah, was it a street crow or was it a lab crow?
It's one of the upper class crows. You know them.
What side of town does the crow live on?
Crows these days. All right,
In the
Los
south
Angeles
side.
Times. Overweight and obese kids are in denial about their weight.
I believe that.
That's from the Los Angeles Times. Apparently to them, 48% of obese children, 36% of obese girls think their weight is about right. I think this goes back to people lying. Maybe they need an animated hit to tell them, hey, you're fat.
Well, I think especially in like the Latin community, if a little kid grows up and they're big and they see their whole family is big, they don't see themselves as big. They just see themselves as like the model, I guess, if everybody looks like them in their direct family.
There's some, large individuals in my family as well.
I got some in mind.
So now we're portraying too much of a skinny model anorexic look, but now kids, now their problem is they're getting used to a fat look. Is it one or the other? What's going on?
Well, I don't know, but I think here, especially in America, there's that skinny image that's always being promoted and favored, and it gets. I think there's sometimes. I think what we're getting into is with the observance of obesity and the Michelle Obama campaign, trying to target obesity in children, trying to get them exercise and more and stuff like that. But you also, I feel like there's somewhat of a cultural issue there, and also just not wanting to hurt someone's feelings, and it becomes almost socially acceptable to be larger. You have some individuals that wear the tight clothing, knowing that it doesn't necessarily fit their body. Yoga pants come to mind, and these people are just like
the Michelin Man comes to mind.
I'm just like, that doesn't fit you. You saw yourself, but yet you're still wearing that because it's kind of one of these things like pride in your weight and social acceptance in your image when it's you're just lying to yourself.
Yeah, I think people now are just not really confronting people who are obese. Like in Asia, or if I travel back to China, people will probably tell me straight to my face that I'm fat. So, versus here, nobody would just tell you straight to your face,
Wait, why would they tell you?
They'll tell you, oh, don't worry, you look fine.
Really?
You look beautiful.
See, because I always thought, like, with especially like Asian culture, that stuff was unacceptable. I remember my friend telling me that one time his friend, who was Asian, and he's American, his Asian friend had something on his face, like it was like mustard from eating a sandwich. And when he told him, hey, you have something on your face, he wiped it away right away. And when they were driving back to the office, he goes, hey, thank you for being such a brass American. Back in, I want to say he was from China. Back in China, that's socially unacceptable to tell someone else. They would just have like not looked at my face.
They're like, well, not really. That.
Maybe that's manners versus
Observation?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. I guess. I don't know how the Michelle Obama campaign is doing against, or how she's doing fighting these obese kids.
like, what? Like a grudge match?
That's what it is. Hard fight. Never know.
There's a lot of those obese kids, so she's gonna lose.
Maybe.
I don't know why. I thought mud wrestling would be funny.
Here's something else. Johnson and Johnson. They're getting into 3D printing of live tissues. How do y'all feel about 3D printing?
I think it's really cool.
I think
Yeah.
it's going to allow for a lot of things to be customized that need to be customized for rapid prototyping. I mean, like you said, they're 3D printing tissues. Guess what? This person needs, let's say, he needs a new not dental cap, but a new roof for his roof on his palate, because he decided to do something stupid and he broke the roof of his mouth. So they can actually print that out pretty quickly, which is great, instead of having to wait months or looking for a donor or putting a prosthetic in. So I think 3D printing for the medical wise, it's going to be great.
What about like for manufacturing? Do you think it'll get to a point where you just go buy this device, you take it home, set it up, and now there's no real need to go out anymore? You can actually just say, hey, I need a bolt for this, or I need this piece for my chair, or I need a sponge. It's just like,
no. I think it's going to be a while before it gets that mainstream that it's affordable and everybody has one. So I think for the time being, it's still going to be like, only a couple of people have it.
nice.
I think it's going to be something that people like experiment with, to prototype with, to try things out with. But if they need the actual production value, or like a good value, good efficiency, they're going to have to get something that's actually mass-produced or built at a factory versus a 3D printer. Because the 3D printer, yes, get it out nice and fast, and it's great for, hey, this will do for now, but it's not a permanent solution for many fixes or things that you're going to be doing. It's great for prototyping, though, at least in my opinion, for current technology-wise.
Right. What about edible food? Do you know if they started 3D printing food?
I heard that, actually. I just went to IBM back in April, and they were talking about doing 3D printing with food. Don't remember much of the details, but I know it's on one of their websites.
Nice. Summer, how do you feel about 3D printing?
I don't know, how do you eat those 3D food?
One time I thought McDonald's just had these like big vat of goop, and you basically, like, if you ordered a hamburger, it'd be like, there's your hamburger. If you order fries, it's just like it's just a mass vat, and it's a universal liquid, and they just use it to make everything. Just like they're like McDonald's toy,
You put beef,
McDonald's box.
bread ingredients in the camera? Whatever.
I think it'd be crazy. It'd be cool to like make food, take a picture of it, and then it prints off like my parents' house. Like, whoa, awesome.
I mean, that's the only thing you need to buy for life. Other things you just get it out from the printing.
I think
Nice.
Easy Bake Oven should definitely capitalize, making a comeback with that. That'd be cool.
Yeah. What would you 3D print, Tony?
I think mainly, I didn't even think about food. That's pretty awesome. I've only seen it for like, pretty much like, oh, I want a little figure or like a cool design. That's what I feel like all it's been doing for now is just making little
Like little
designs.
knickknacks. Doesn't it seem like that? Just like
Yeah.
Yeah. Like little figurines or like collectibles. Maybe
Yeah.
something you put together like a little model.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also saw a pin where like it's you just can write, and as you're writing in air, it's slowly doing this polymer.
Oh, I saw that. That's for 3D art, actually, with the 3D pen.
Yeah, it looked pretty cool. But when the guy was demonstrating it, I don't think he knew what he was doing. It's just like these random squiggly lines. I was like, what the hell would I use that for? So some of the 3D printers also come with instructions on how to make the replacement parts. So, or it prints its own replacement parts. So essentially, it could be
Self-sustaining.
self-sustainable. Yeah, there you go. What else we got? Let's see. NPR. Here we go. Zoo in Argentina says, sad bear, too old to go to Canada. Aw.
What?
So apparently there's a bear, and it's a polar bear, and it's reported to be the world's saddest animal. This is out of NPR, and it says, report on Saturday, Arturo, the polar bear, dubbed the world's saddest bear, lost his enclosure mate 2 years ago and has entered a deep depression. To another thing, I don't know if animals have true feelings. I don't know how you feel about this.
I think they do.
Oh yeah.
Like, especially like birds. I think if you ever had like a family member or grandma or something that had like a pair of birds and one of them dies, the other one dies like not so long after because they're so used to each other's company. So I think they more or less feel attached to things, I guess.
I mean, I've seen so many dogs. Actually, a lot of my friends with their dogs. Whenever we come back from deployment, they haven't seen their dog in months, if not a year. And the dogs, they come back, they're so excited. I mean, they may have been lethargic before and not really doing anything, but the second they see their best friend, they just get so excited. It's like, oh dear God, you're gonna have a heart attack. They're jumping up and down. I mean, it's honest to see that they're excited. They're having feelings. And then actually, about 3 weeks ago, I was reading a story about a goat and a donkey, that they were best friends. They got separated. So, they were in an animal, or not animal shelter. They were actually, criminals had them. They were severely underfed, severely being abused, essentially. Some animal group activists got them. They got separated, taken to different shelters. And the goat wouldn't eat anything. It would just, like, gave up on life. They brought the donkey over, and within minutes, they were the happiest thing in the world, apparently. I was eating again and spending all its time with the donkey. Apparently, the donkey and the goat were best friends. So, I think they do have feelings.
If there was a sad animal, it'd be a polar bear in Argentina.
Well, this is a polar bear, and I think
It's in a zoo.
they're just debating whether to move it or not. They were going to move it to Canada, but it's 28, which is really old in polar bear years, and because of being too old, it can't be sedated. So the best option is just to keep it there. But yeah, I don't know if it's like a real emotional feeling or if it's something of just an environmental thing where they've just become accustomed to the same thing, and so they just kind of stay with that. So I have trouble thinking like animals have real emotional feeling. I think it's more of like a subjective environmental sensors that disappear, like something's taken out of their environment and now they can't relate to it the same way, and so it appears that they may be depressed. But I don't know.
Yeah, of course. They do.
To them, would you say that's not emotion?
Like my aunt's cat, she just recently gave birth to 5 kittens, and then my aunt wasn't able to keep all of them, so she gave them all away after maybe two months after birth, and then the mother significantly lost a lot of weight, and she, like, her personality just changed. Wasn't as happy as before, and she just lay there all the time and lost a lot of weight, and she used to be like really depressed, thinking about her children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think animals have souls?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know.
Tony,
Yeah, that's a tough one.
have you ever had a pet?
Yeah, I love my Charlie and Izzy.
You have a what?
I love my dogs. Yeah.
Do you love your dogs like you love your fish?
No,
Why not?
he's pretty cool.
Huh?
He's staring at me. You know. See, I could have my fish in my apartment. I can't have my dog here. Do I love them the same? No. I just sort of feed the fish.
Let me ask you this. Do you think fish are capable of being depressed?
No. Fish forget like really fast.
I don't know. You're saying all animals are created equally?
They're not. They have different strengths.
Jeez.
An ability.
Got an animal racist. All right, guys. As we're coming up on the hour here, we'll end with this article. Let's see. This is out of Futurity.com. It says methadone, best for babies born with drug withdrawal. So that's interesting. These infants born with neonatal abstinence syndrome, otherwise known as NAS, after being exposed to opioid medications like oxycodone in the utero, can have seizures, difficulty feeding, respiratory complications, low birth weights. So as a way of treating that, they they give the baby treatment with methadone. It's interesting.
Jeez.
Methadone is also used for what? Heroin addicts.
I believe so. Yes.
Bad
But you're off
bears.
the heroin and hooked on methadone. Let's see, for the study published in the Journal of oh man, I can't say this. Journal of Perinatology. Researchers looked at data from, let's see, 1,424 infants with NAS at 14 major children's hospitals and found significant variations in the treatment. So, just like any study, there's some variation in there. Methadone, no. How do you feel about giving a baby methadone?
Because they have withdrawals, right? They need it, and they'll die without it, right?
Right, but do you think there's a more homeopathic way?
If the medication is being used because there's a danger to the baby's life, there is nothing wrong with that treatment, I believe. Because the baby's life is in danger. If it was just because, oh, they're addicted, but that's it, I mean, I would have more trouble because, hey, the baby's not going to remember this. The baby's not going to remember I was addicted to crack. Now, if the withdrawal symptoms actually put the baby's life in danger because of all the various symptoms of withdrawal, then absolutely it should be.
Right. And it's a non-standard method. Basically, they've tried this at a different hospital, and what this new study showed is that infants treated with methadone have a shorter length of treatment and length of stay when compared to other treatment methods for infants with the condition. So, it's just another study done. They're looking to standardize this amongst all U.S. hospitals at the time. It's just unless is there any type of acupuncture for people with undergoing withdrawals from opioids in this case, or maybe any other type of explosive drugs?
I'm sure there are practices out there for drug withdrawals, but my mom had done for smoke. That's the only addiction
Does
she
that
had.
work?
If the patient corroborate, yes, it did work in the beginning, but the patient, I guess, started not to be able to afford more treatments, so they stopped coming. Since
How does that work? How does acupuncture work in alleviating those withdrawals?
Okay, so according to my mom, it's sort of like a balance inside your body. So like nature, we have night, day, we have wind, we have rain, we have droughts, and then different elements within nature, and then so as within our body, we have all of those nature or natural elements within our body. So any of those elements go out of tolerance because of addictions or you know imbalance in lifestyle that can mess up the balance inside your body. And then how acupuncture works is kind of just like rebalance it out, so that it helps your body to balance it and then go back to the healthy state that you're supposed to be. So
Nice. I've always been interested in that.
yes. So is there any scientific proof behind that theory? I don't think there are any researchers out there using current modern science to explain that, but that's the philosophy behind it, and it seemed to work.
Nice. Tony, in your past, how have you dealt with drug addiction?
Can't say I have a lot of experience with that. I have seen a little documentary about methadone clinics in I think in Canada, and there's just free open door for all the meth users to go, and it's just a private booth. They don't supply them with the drug. It's just a private, clean condition where they can do the drug and maybe get like some people they offer them help, stuff like that. So I think that's kind of more dealing with adults to help their condition. But with the baby, you just sort of slowly ease them off, and they don't have a choice because they're a baby. They should be able to kick the habit because they can't get the drug themselves.
Right.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
definitely a useful technique.
yeah.
All right. Let's see. How about you, Oscar? Any input?
No, I forgot the
You
question.
there?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be drug addiction. Be other fetishes as well.
It's just. No, I'm gonna skip this one. Yeah.
It's an open environment. Don't be scared.
No. I was just texting a friend and I really forgot what you guys were talking about.
Oh,
Wow.
wow. Thanks. Just get the hell out of here. Just kidding. All right, guys. I really liked how this segment went. I want to thank everybody for joining me for episode 5 of Beta Sheet.
Oh, that's it.
The intersection of... I'm sorry, wait.
Of
The intersection of science and society.
The crossways of.
I invite you all back next Thursday.
The intersection of science and society.
There we go, my man. And invite you all back here next week, 9:30, for our try to keep it to an hour episodes, and where we review trending articles in science. All right, guys. If you all just want to say bye, it'd be awesome.
Bye.
Later.
Adios, everyone.
Bye.